to Monday Mojo. This week's quote, "A man of courage is also full of faith." Marcus Tullius Cicero, 106 to 43 BC, Roman philosopher, statesman, lawyer, political theorist, and one of Rome's greatest orators. You gotta have faith, they say. You must believe, they motivate, and it does seem to work. When you're down on your luck and things just don't seem to be flowing your way, a little bit of faith seems like the perfect cure. But faith in what? Yourself? A higher power? Just the word faith can conjure up the seedlings for intense debate. At the core of any major organized religion, there seems to be the necessity of at least some faith to justify the end. Why? Because there's just not enough tangible evidence. Archaeologists scour the ends of the earth constantly looking for evidence to corroborate many beliefs that rest on a bed of faith, to either prove or disapprove any of those theories. We're so hungry for this proof that we often jump to quick conclusions of authenticity, embracing the saviors that suddenly and mysteriously stumble upon a find that brings it all together. Well, as I watched the Discovery Channel the other night, one such miracle had happened to one guy who supposedly had found 2 different items that might substantiate the existence of King Solomon's temple. All this came tumbling down quickly, though, as other experts revealed it as a hoax. Regardless, the faithful remain unshaken. They understand through nature itself. They may have all the evidence they ever need. So this is where I had an epiphany about our self-faith. I'm not even sure that that's a term, but let's investigate it together. First, we have to consider our own psychology and embrace the fact that our powerful mind has certain genetic pre-wirings. We also must embrace the fact that more often than not, our brains are moving us forward on autopilot, beyond our own realization, and there's really not much that we can do to stop that. Certainly, without that autopilot, we might even cease to exist. But there is a part of it that often confuses us and can throw us into complete turmoil, where we lose faith in ourselves, and that's dangerous. Consider what might happen when you try to do something new. Maybe at work in a sales capacity. You jump on the phone and run through that pitch, only to have the phone hung up on you. What goes through your head in that very moment of time? What is the self-image that pops up? What does it really look like? How do you really feel deep inside? Maybe the same thing has even happened to you in a relationship. You've finally ventured out and thrown your feelings in the center of the ring, only to have them smashed by your partner. Do you feel duped? Do you feel heartbroken? Do you tell yourself that you're never going to try that again? Do you paint yourself a new self-image of a relationship loser? Do you start that self-talk that you drop on everyone you can find about how you're a failure in this department? When you keep repeating it, does it create negative emotions that give birth to more negative thoughts and words? You see, we might not even realize that we've thrown ourselves into this crazy spin cycle. But what a slippery slope that can be. For some, it can completely slay the faith they once had and conclude with a feeling of depression and hopelessness. With negative emotions that powerful, we actually have a chemical change in the brain that can lead to awful conclusions. But wait a minute. Where's that desire to review the evidence? What happened to all that yearning to pursue the archaeological self-dig? We seem to somehow have suddenly lost all our inquisitive behavior when it comes to self-assessment. Even though we'll vehemently pursue the evidence in the courtroom, the religious or political debate rooms, we suddenly accept the surface evidence when it comes to our own trials and tribulations. So let's break it down for the salesman. The call is made and somebody's rude, curses and hangs up. The first reaction might be to fall apart. But what if that's our salesman's natural inclination to withdraw when attacked? A genetic wiring issue. What if that pre-wiring is waiting for the first piece of evidence that it needs to turn tail and run, and then it kicks in the auto response to keep going? Before the salesman even knows it, he has completely mentally withdrawn, possibly not even consciously aware as to why. However, he quickly accepts the verdict and goes on the run. But what if our salesman could stop for even a nanosecond and consider the evidence? Yes, the hard, tangible facts of the situation. First of all, the rejection could never be a personal attack because the prospect didn't even know our subject. Secondly, The prospect may have just had the worst day of his life and our salesman happened to show up at the wrong time. Nothing more or less. Maybe not accurate, but nevertheless possible, right? Say yes, because the consideration of options is always the correct process. Anything else would be inaccurate thinking and lazy-mindedness. So back we arrive at faith. If there might even be another alternative, then we must consider it, especially when it comes to our own self-assessment. Another fact is that some people are simply pre-wired to attack and are always moving forward, for better or worse. Therefore, there is only more evidence that nobody is better or worse than the other person, maybe just simply genetically different. Consider the 7-foot basketball player who's naturally set up to slam dunk, but it doesn't stop the 6-footer from winning the contest. So what makes for a real winner? It must be their faith. The ability to take life's evidence and sort it all out. The strong are able to shrug off the negative self-belief. They're willing to take on all challenges, including a natural wiring prepared for hiding. So the next time you feel a challenge coming on, stop and think. Consider the evidence and the alternatives, and don't be a fool and lose your faith. Hey, this is another thinking tool brought to you by freethinkingtools.com, reminding you to think and thrive. I'm Danny Griffin. We'll see you next time here on Monday Mojo.